Hi guys, welcome to a new episode of your IGCSE tutors. Today, I will be discussing this Cambridge IGCSE Economics Paper 2, Section A. Here are the source material and questions. Please pause and have a look. Question 1A. Calculate the average cost of producing a car in Belarus in 2021. So, here is the data you need to take note. So the equation, average cost of production equals to total cost divided by output level. So you just use this 340.8 million divided by 32,000. So you'll get 1,650 per car. Alright. Question 1B. Identify two reasons why Belarus is described as a mixed economy. So whenever you see this word mixed economy, it always refers to public sector and private sector. So the economy has this both private sector and public sector. So of course the answer is here. And then for your reference, where do I find this answer? It's in the article, which is highlighted in yellow color. Question C. Explain the type of inflation experienced by Belarus. So you can see the yellow highlighted part. The rise in price level just means that there's an inflation going on, and increases in price of energy push up the cost of production in firms. So this gives you a clear hint that it is a cost push inflation. So first, you get your 1 mark by mentioning this, and then second, you need to explain why is there a cost push inflation. First is because there's an increase in price of energy, which increases the cost of production of firms. So basically, you can just write what is in the article. Question D. Explain two reasons why the production possibility curve PPC of Belarus may have shifted to the left between 2011 and 2021. So when you see PPC shift to the left, so this means that there has been reduce in resources, reduce in productivity. So try to look for the data that shows this. So you can see the yellow highlighted part. So this is the answers we are looking for. So first, you just state the reason, the both reason here, and then you give an explanation. First reason is there is a decline in the size of country's labor force. So fewer labor means lower level of outputs can be produced in the economy. So leads to reduction in resources. The second reason is there's a decrease in the number of students going to university. This may reduce the number of skilled labor that has specialized knowledge, which reduces the labor's productivity and possibility of innovation. So moving on, question E. Analyze the relationship between life expectancy and HDI value. So can take a look at this data. Okay, so usually here are the steps that you need to take note. First step, you state the relationship between the data, so the two factors, which is life expectancy and HDI value. So you state whether it's direct or negative. Step 2, you need to state the overall trend, state the most or least data and the exception. Step 3 is to analyze, which is to give the reason for the trend or exception. So first step, life expectancy and HDI value has a direct relationship. So you can further explain by saying when life expectancy increases, HDI value increases. Okay, and moving on to step 2. So you state Norway has the highest life expectancy and highest HDI value. Uganda has the lowest life expectancy and lowest HDI value. And now we state the exception. So exception is this. Okay, so I didn't write out the ranking, but you can look, and then you will find that Belarus is ranked 4th in life expectancy but ranked 3rd in HDI value. Okay, so moving on to the last step, which is the reason. You need to state it. So first, reason for trend. Life expectancy is one of the HDI factor. So the higher the life expectancy, the higher the HDI. And the second one is the reason for exception. HDI measures healthcare, education, and income per capita. Belarus may have higher income per capita or higher quality education, which contributes to a higher HDI value. So basically, you just explain why when Belarus has a lower life expectancy, it will have a higher HDI value. We found that it's actually due to these three factors. So maybe healthcare, Belarus has like lower quality healthcare, but maybe better education. We don't know. It's just a speculation. Okay, so because this question is 4 marks, you don't have to write everything. I'll suggest you have to write this. This also can write. And then maybe reason, you can explain one. You can choose one reason to write. Yeah. Okay, question F. Analyze using a demand and supply diagram how subsidizing the production of milk would affect the market for milk. Okay, so you need to draw. So this one you need to know the marks allocation. 4 marks are given for the diagram itself. So you need to label the X and Y axis, price of milk and quantity of milk. Okay, and then you need to draw the original demand and supply curve, which is indicated by S1 and D1. Okay, so subsidizing, we know that it will reduce the cost of production of firm. Okay, so the supply will shift rightwards. So because supply increases, so you just draw this, okay, and indicate there's a reduce in price and increase in quantity. Okay, and then another 1 mark is awarded by your analysis, which is this. Subsidy reduces the cost of production of firm. Hence, price reduces and supply increases. So that's all you need to get 5 marks. Question G. Discuss whether or not the construction of electric vehicle charging stations would benefit an economy. You need to find some hints from the paragraph here. So we know that for the beneficial side, you can say that there's good environmental effects, but for the not beneficial side, you can say that some other forms of transport may provide more benefits, or some people and firms may be reluctant to switch to buying electric vehicles. So personally, I would suggest you to use the points given in the article. But if you really don't understand what does it mean, for example, some other forms of transport may provide more benefits. You're not sure what kind of benefits it provide, so you can choose to write your own analysis. Alright, let's look at answers. Okay, so for the beneficial side, first, it can reduce the carbon emission, reduce air pollution and external costs to the economy. So this improves overall health and life expectancy of people. Less sick days, so they are more fit to work, so the productivity increases. And secondly, there will be an increase of job opportunities. So there are many charging stations to be built, so this creates new job opportunities and reduces unemployment rate. Moving on to why is it not beneficial to the economy. First, it creates economy burden on infrastructure, because government need to increase its spending building charging station, and also not only building, they need to spend money on the maintenance costs. So here raises a question, where do they get all this fund? So obviously, it will be raised to increasing taxation. So the problem is that they will increase burden on taxpayers. Or another analysis, another possibility can be this incurs opportunity costs. So maybe government may cut down expenditure on healthcare and allocate to building more EV charging station. Yeah, so these are something you can say. Second is that inefficiency arises. some people may be reluctant to switch. Okay, so this we use the one given in the article, as they may already have a car or the price of electric vehicle is too high. Okay, so resources allocated to this sector may be wasted. So what does this mean? This just mean that because like government spend a lot of money on building the charging station and also employing workers to work at this charging station. So if not a lot of people are using EV car, so they won't use these services. This means that the resources may be wasted. Question H. Discuss whether or not people should be fined for being unemployed. Okay. So here first, you can see that when you fine, you can reduce frictional unemployment if suitable jobs were available. However, some of the unemployment might have been structural or cyclical. So these are the fundamental problems cannot be solved by finding people. So if this kind of this kind of situations happen, it's better that the government intervene by providing more trainings or maybe more unemployment benefits. Alright, so let's continue see what's the answer. Okay, so first, yes, why people should be fined. First, it can encourage unemployed people to find jobs. Yes, we are using this point. In order to avoid being fined, unemployed people will have the incentive to seek jobs in the short term. This reduces frictional unemployment and may increase productivity level in the economy. Second, fine can increase revenue for government. Okay, so this is very true because government can use this fund to develop important sectors in the economy, such as healthcare and education. And moving on to why people should not be fined for being unemployed. First, they lack the relevant skills. Okay, if the problem is structural unemployment, it is harder for workers to find jobs in other industry in short term, as they do not have relevant skills or knowledge. So, for example, a worker is working in a steel production, but due to a reduce in demand for steel, so the workers are being laid off. But all the while, the workers only know how to produce steel, so it's very hard for them to suddenly change to producing working for a shoe factory. So they need time to train and gain the skills. So instead, government should provide training schemes to develop their skills and assist them in finding jobs. Okay. So this is like a suggestion you are giving to instead of finding the people, what would you suggest government do? Okay, second, lack of money. Unemployed people do not have income and they may not be able to pay fines. If they need to pay fines, this will worsen poverty and affect their well-being. Yeah. Or also you can further elaborate by saying that if they can't pay fine, they need to go to jail. So this even will reduce the labor productivity because there has been a reduction in labor force. Because if a lot of people are going to jail, less people working, this is detrimental to the economy. Alright, so for 6-mark questions, you can just pick 2 from yes and 1 from no, or you can pick 1 from yes and 2 from no. Don't have to write everything. So here's the end of our video. Hope this video helps you a lot. So remember to like, share and subscribe to our channel. I'll see you in the next video.